Welcome to the Call Me Courage Midweek Inspiration and Motivation. This week's episode is about boundaries and finding yourself again. I'm Kenna, and this is your gentle pause in the middle of the week, a moment to breathe, reflect, and reconnect with your inner courage. The series is about me inspiring you and maybe sparking something within you along the way. These short reflections are here to help you slow down, listen inward, and realign with what feels true for you so you can move forward with clarity, intention, and heart. So let's begin. Hi everyone. This week we're talking about something that can feel really uncomfortable but is absolutely essential for your well-being. Boundaries. Boundaries can feel intimidating. I know that they have been for me. I've always been a people pleaser, which means setting boundaries has been one of the hardest things I've had to learn. Because when you're someone who genuinely wants to make others feel happy, you often push yourself to do things you don't even want to do, just to make someone else feel better. But what happens when you live like that? I'll tell you, you lose yourself. You slowly disappear behind the scenes of your own life. For me, the first sign that I was losing myself is that I started to feel depressed. And the thing is, I got really good at hiding it. I would keep smiling, keep showing up, keep being fine. But inside, I wasn't. This is something called smiling depression. And I honestly think there were times in my life I could have been crowned the queen of it. Here are a few signs you might recognize. You seem active and busy all the time. Work, home, social life, but inside you're struggling to even find a moment for yourself. You're always smiling. I remember a coworker once saying to me that they thought I might be manic depressive because I was always so happy, and they were actually worried about what the other side looked like. You don't let people in because if you do, you might have to face how you really feel. And sometimes that pain leaks out through sarcasm or dark humor. And here's the truth. Hidden depression can actually be more dangerous than when someone openly struggles. When someone is open about their pain, they're more likely to reach out for help. But when you're high functioning, a people pleaser, quietly struggling, you don't reach out. You just keep going. And I'll share something personal with you. There was a time in my life when I tried to take my own life. I didn't ask for help. I didn't tell anyone. I just tried. And thankfully, it wasn't my time. I don't share this for the sympathy. I share it because I understand the danger of silent suffering. And I know how important it is to stop losing ourselves. Because when we ignore our emotional needs for too long, it doesn't just stay in the mind. It can show up in the body too. So what can we do? How can we come back to ourselves? First, we learn to love ourselves. We have to start putting ourselves first and let go of worrying about what other people think of us. One of my teachers, James Van Praagh, says, "It's none of your business what others think of you." And I repeat that to myself often. Because truly, the only opinion that matters is the one that you have about yourself. Second, only do what feels right in your heart and soul. If something doesn't feel aligned, it's okay to say no. You can still be kind. You can still be compassionate. Sometimes I'll even offer an alternative, another way they might get support. But I don't abandon myself anymore to do it. And third, set boundaries. This is a big one. And I'll be honest, it's still something I work on today. Because when you start setting boundaries, people can react in unexpected ways. They're used to the version of you who always says yes. So when you start saying no, it can feel to them like you've changed. For me, understanding my astrology actually helped. Mercury, the planet of communication, is very strong in my chart. It's conjunct Jupiter, the planet of expansion. And I also have a Gemini moon. So yes, I like to talk. I like to speak my mind. And here's the interesting part. When you shift from people pleasing to honoring your truth, the same voice can suddenly feel too much for others. Sometimes it comes across as harsh or misunderstood. Not because it is, but because people are adjusting to a new version of you. So, what are boundaries really? They're simply this: drawing a line in the sand of what is expected of you and what is not. And we need them everywhere, with neighbors, at the grocery store, at work, at home, even with our pets. Here's a simple way to start setting boundaries. State your boundary, explain it if needed, offer an alternative. I'll give you an example. One of the most loved people in my life was my aunt in Baltimore. We had such a beautiful connection. We just lit each other up whenever we'd hear our voices. But when her best friend passed away, there was a void in her life, and the void was gossip. And guess who she tried to pull into that? Yep, me. So I started gently setting a boundary. I would say, Auntie, what you're sharing feels like gossip, and I don't want to talk about other people like that. I told her I'd rather accept people for who they are without judging them. And that felt right in my soul. Now, on the flip side, there have been people in my life where I have clearly said, this topic is hurtful to me. I don't want to talk about it. And they continued to talk anyway and to tell me their opinion and what I should do. So I had to set stronger boundaries. I choose not to engage with them anymore. It's just too much for my soul. I don't need that in my life. And that's the key. Boundaries aren't just about what you say. They're about what you do next. Because the truth is, we set boundaries so we don't lose ourselves. So this week, I invite you to reflect. Where in your life are you saying yes when your soul is saying no? Set your boundaries, and more importantly, stick to them. As you move through the week, remember, every time you set a boundary, you come back to home, you come back to yourself, and that is where your peace lives. Until next time, keep choosing courage. Thank you for joining the Call Me Courage midweek inspiration and motivation. As we close, I want to remind you that you are allowed to pause, you are allowed to choose differently, and you are allowed to trust what feels true for you. Until we meet again, choose courage gently, and remember, your strength lies within. Bye-bye.